abusuafo ne tifo haye Alpha OneTV and then first time aban so any no book kwan so na wa subscribe ya man se binye news bia no si bia binye notification phone so na wa be sha fin so mama we so be sha mo adam for so enye tifo me kan sam sutin any outcome ba bontin edifa wona mo vote ma ye John Dramani ma o mo ye military for a mo ba bontin be vote ma John Dramani ma yeni enim koka ekoso edifa 7 Sydney a flip no eni enim de ne besi wo eye court eni enim de ne isi be declared so dom kwa menya sa electoral na renew se eye be ka makokoi na renew eni enim de ne be koso in sema Sam George can chese security officers for Ghana Army for bono me suggest for a police for bo fe be omze ezu eza sa ezu eza no mo kan chese niema yakoso no omuta eyebeka eye NDC manyuko nachi na enya ade a omema kwan ma niema illegal no akoso niema ensem fata ECJ mensen ye no enya ade omema kwan ma sade na akoso na woni bia eyebeka Sam George afaso just for yiso ediama ECJ mensen no enya asem ketwa wase jawaro gantano jaisa wo kire ho no jaisa as what to aniare on very hwebio jais niema wo ye na ensem fata na pastor ya na wo declare bia ensem fata ai on lawful no opeso de ma MPP for na nya ade befa inenim se NDC amanyuko no aba abontin as Sam George na nkasa mu no ka ho ka che Ghana fo nyina se MPP amanyuko no dwen se ade asa 7 Sydney flipper mom no including the another prayer ono anim se obo ni betu up to na nipa obo ni tunta so aye hospital na aye police for emba bonze meka hwe no na omye na eno chene no enya dia on the 9th of aye beka aye January of the next year no 2025 na yes where the new speaker in enya dia sa MP elect for no modwins o mo ka ho no omye 7 flip aye NPP PC4 is oma be MP led for more constituency no enya do ma kwa mo mai de abora na asogets foi Ghana security officers foi police foi e back omo niemo mo ye nyina mo support omo because in some our can say also be bia also ezu eza enti niema e koso court no niema e koso ECJ men's office no e ade mo support NDC amanyuko 24/7 coming go to Sam George back needing come ato
people to go back and get those seats lawfully because they were lawfully won. We will not allow the gerrymandering and the arm twisting that happened in 2020 that took 8 seats. In 2020, away. 8 seats were taken away from the NDC in similar manner.
And I disagree when people simply say that, oh, you people have 180 plus seats. Why can't you just let this go? We are not letting go. We are protecting what is ours. It's a question of law.
Yes.
It's a question of fact.
Yes.
It's a question of principle.
Yes.
And it's a question of what must not be allowed to stand if it is an illegality. Yes. That one will not be counting us. And I think we must accept that there is every reason to go after what is right. There's precedent. They've held other parliamentarians in abeyance for 4 years, for the whole term. We are very ready and poised to do so. You see, Sam George, all I ask is that every single Ghanaian voter should do what is right and lawful. Exactly. And trust the process.
That's it.
That's it.
We owe it as a duty. We cannot let the Ghanaian... And on this one, the public sentiment is aligned with our position entirely. That we must go for the seats that were given to
very
the NDC.
Important. And even when we post on social media, the last time when those seats were declared, I went posted, comrades, relax, whatever. I mean, people simply do not want to listen.
People don't want to listen. People think that
all they need is those seats.
Because Obi, you look at Obuasi East, that gentleman who stood up to the soldiers. Exactly. His family, those weapons were life. Yeah. That's how much the base and the rank and file of our party and ordinary Ghanaians fought to give us those seats.
In Adenta, there was a similar situation. It was ordinary citizens who literally prevented them. Yes.
So you cannot take the blood and toil of Ghanaians for granted. I mean,
it
won't happen. It won't happen.
Anyway,
you know, the entire process of this election, Obi, was an entire repudiation of everything Akufo-Addo.
Yeah.
And on that occasion, nobody was willing to take any of that. I think that those seats are lawfully ours. We must fight to retain them. All I say is that, please, everybody calm down. Trust the process, and everything is being done.
Sure.
Thank you. Let's take some of your messages now. Ben Jack said,
and you know the beauty of this, there is no individual who can stand anywhere, not even John Mahama, and say that this victory was by his making. Look, our best estimations did not give us 2/3 of parliament. Did not give John Mahama 57% plus. Absolutely not. This is the hand of God. You know, and that must humble us. But you see, again, to whom much is given, much is expected. You know, today, Obi, like you were saying, I go around and I ask myself, so who is MPP in this country now? Yeah. Because everybody
is literally NDC.
Everybody is NDC. From security officers. I say, policemen on duty meet you now and say, Eyezu.
That's all. Go and park in a hotel car park.
Anywhere, Eyezu.
Walk into a shop.
Even in the traffic.
Yes. And that's why I mean, there's that joke that the next Speaker of Parliament, the next Speaker of the next Parliament, we should not say all those in favor say aye, all those say no. Just say all those in favor say zoo. You know, because they have given us, the Ghanaian people have given us such weight of responsibility that it must humble us and focus us. That our focus must be on meeting their aspirations and meeting their needs. We must know that we hold power in trust for them. And so everything we do in government must be to serve the wishes of the people. That's the only way that they will reward us again with an extension of our term. And for me, it is humbling, it is a big lesson, and it's something that I constantly remind myself, say, this thing, we can't play with it. You know, and so I think that where we are, the NDC must mirror John Mahama. We must carry our government business like him. You can't sit in a ministry or in a government parastatal as a CEO and people come and you are arrogant. People come and sit for hours and you are sitting in there. You are not doing anything. Documents will sit on your table for weeks because, I mean, look, it is unacceptable. That is not the Ghana that we are coming to reset. We must be proactive. You must not be an armchair leader. Electoral Akurugu has fought and won that seat.
A good fight.
A very good fight. Look, and they say that there are issues with 3 polling stations.
Can you imagine?
Just 3 polling stations.
Ghana's largest constituency.
Out of almost 300, over 300 polling stations. Now, you know the interesting thing. If you look at the voter turnout, in that constituency, and even in those polling stations, and you even give the totality of those stations to Mike Okwe, Electoral will still beat him.
That's it.
So why are you holding her up? You see, and for me, this goes to establish why I'm grateful to God that the presidential, he listened to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's prayer.
The gap should be wide.
The gap should be wide. Because imagine that the gap wasn't wide.
Can you imagine what this election?
But before that, just imagine that we hadn't agreed to count the presidential ballots.
Ballot first. Yes.
That is all they were waiting for. You know, look, on this occasion, Sam George, I keep telling you, God made sure that every step of the way,
He guided us.
He guided us. It's as simple as that.
It is. I mean, this country would have been thrown into chaos by the Electoral Commission. Because even with this wide gap, it took them how many hours? Almost 96 hours to declare.
Yes, even after the plan.
And even after that,
look what they're doing.
Yes.
You know, and I just don't get it. Jean Mensa, Bosman Asari, and the rest. Exactly what are they?
Work of the EC. I know some women who took it as a very personal thing, even claiming that it was like women.
Where were they when Charlotte Osei was on the chopping board? You know? Where were they?
I was really sad. I thought of all the feedback, I'll be the last person. The issue is about the work of the EC.
Yeah.
The work of the EC, the output of the EC. You have a CI 127, Siomoto, dictating the regulations, guiding the elections. The recollation and things you're doing now In fact, apparently that word doesn't even appear.
It doesn't appear. There's no regulation anywhere. It's an illegality.
So what exactly are they doing?
It's a complete illegality.
Those actions and inactions could plunge this
and
country
in 2020,
into chaos. And you say because she's a woman,
yes,
we should talk
keep
about
quiet.
it.
Talk about it.
No,
And so the question is that, what are we talking? So why, when women are given responsibility, we ought not to criticize their output?
Not at all, because they are women.
Thank you.
And I disagree.
That's wrong. And I think that, look, where we sit as a country, we need to be thankful for the grace and goodness of God upon our land, and for what He's done for us. But I honestly believe that we owe it to the Ghanaian people. And look, you just need to read social media and listen to public commentary that the Ghanaian people expect that the NDC will not cede those seats.
But it's not a
Just like
gift.
that.
Why should we be seating them? It's
Absolutely,
a contest.
because I live in Okaikwe Central, and look, there are people who've walked up to me and said, "Sam, this is the first time we've ever voted for MPP, for NDC.
NDC.
Yes.
This is the first time we've given you this seat,
people, yes.
and we expect you to fight for it with everything you have. Protect our votes.
Everywhere
You know,
walk
because and people see that as a sign that we're ready to also protect the public purse
Exactly.
and go after those who've looted the purse, because they feel that if what we've given to you can't even protect, how can you go after those who've looted the purse? And so this,
We
for me,
owe it to them.
it is a given that it's not negotiable that we owe it to the Ghanaian people.
Ebusiafo ne tifo ni atensema Sam George ya betudwa na ne nsem no ka na ne abrie pa no kasa, because o say obefa all over Ghana, all corners, all babyano bekona suggest for army, for security personnel, for police officers, for omunyina ezu eza omunyina the support akese emma beka John Dramani mam any NDC amanyoko no bibi ebekosu bia illegal no omukutia bibi unlawful no omukutia na nya de omo like omama adwen say niema ECJ mense no ene niema bekoso court in case omo butia na enya dom mo becha omo bako na omo to mechi 24/7. I don't know Ebeka Sam Jordan about ability information or one ECJ mensa. Say near my warrior no or the Ghana air copy before. Enka ya near my course of parliamentary. Enka she say enki di kanye parliamentary no ena sene babe presidential no ena kwakwe recollation. And in case about me and my bontam consider defeat. Why she said senior crumbe like chaos. Senior like Tokwani ade. We grow about bontin tembe consider defeat cramponche ni pado mu ye. Ni pan nice num any wuye. Nanso or case. In case in KB the kind parliamentary crampo any who ni pado munya parliamentary moye NDC for any who ni pado me parliamentary moye peka MP for me elect any genya the presidential na and as I mean recollation the concord near the idea near man busy organ and Ghana for any job back. I don't know what teach him and all can say near ma SCC right now on Yankopon San Wumbi. And can you compose and wumpia and cover our meeting that 88% na a year beka Mahama 57 and 8%. It become pussy in the history of Ghana. No Reno and a beka Joyce Bauer, the personal age for a year beka John Dramani Mama Suburem, or there's some policies and some a nema or more babem, Nema Mobeye, Nema Profnana Beye, in share Profnana Christmas message or the Magana Funina. Or catching Ghana Funya say and obe bomo ama women's bank no can you say be like ni review David Nema or can't be ni ombe or Montesa ban be ha bada embassy bubi edin no more promise 1 for 3 no more no be no more person ye and no Joyce Bawa babontin chiche Nema me hu say Nema ebeka Profnana Akebiano ade omobeye sa women's bank say ba obi an fa ne sansombi no munye do metimi bia no metimi de sika mo ha akwaje no o make sure so made o metimi aye ɛde ayɛ adwuma papa mo ɛtumi ayɛ ɛtua ne back ɛno na wakyekyere ma kyɛ sɛ ɛnya nsɛm tɔ kam ne nkuti nsɛm yi aba ɛbaa ne de nkɔmɔtwa yɛ de ato aso.
Be seen to work, and you must work. If you are not ready, sit aside and let somebody else come in.
Madam.
No, I think that Sam George, I mean, I can't even put it better. You know, he's a better, political speaker than I am. But I mean, yeah.
Oh, JB, this one, you're setting me up. Yeah, I beg you. You see, JB is one of the most loved people in the NDC. This thing she's doing, she's setting me up. The party boys now will come after me like they did to somebody recently.
touch not my anointed.
Touch not my anointed. But you are touch not the beloved.
No, touch not my anointed.
You know, of all the disciples, Jesus had John.
Asking, Omani, are you sure that this is the final? And somehow, every time Omani said yes, he would look at the side of the board again. Even he found it very difficult to believe that this was the gift that God was bestowing upon him. I think he realizes the enormity of the responsibility also. But I tell you, I kid you not, Obi. Let's remember one thing. What do you say? ̻uabano yedibo techino.
Yedibo is 100-fold.
And then as our nascent democracy also evolves, there's one thing Ghanaians know. And you watch one of the interviews when the young student said, "Oh, and you know, this has been a crushingly humiliating output and performance by the New Patriotic Party. I hope it teaches them also a few lessons in humility. That it also teaches them to eschew arrogance of power. That it also teaches them that God still works in the affairs of men and women. And that this time round, God just came to show his hand, to show his might, and to show his power. But to the incoming administration, the biggest responsibility actually lies on our shoulders. Whatever capacity, you know, there's something I tell my students, Sam, that even if you are invited to serve tea or coffee, serve it in all humility and with discipline, and do it to the best of your ability. In whatever we do. And you know, there's something I also observe in our space, his interest in the lot of women. And yesterday he said something interesting, that he has an app, and the app will determine the categories of persons or appointees. And then he said, JB, it would also tell us if we've reached the 30% mark for women. And I smiled and said, no, Nana alone occupies the 52% that constitutes the women folk in Ghana. But please, dear ladies, when these opportunities come your way, do take them, but do your very best. As Sam George said, if you have any character traits that will not inure to the benefit or the service of the good people of Ghana, please start now. You know, now we have also coaches. Go online and you'll find them. Lessons in humility, lessons in service, lessons in discipline, you name it. No matter what you do. And I say every day, when I arrived on this job, there were no terms of reference. I didn't even know what to expect. I had no idea what really the job even entailed. But there was one thing that I knew, that God wanted me to serve John Mahama in ways I've probably never done before. But I've taken many lessons from this personality called John Mahama. And I think that they will serve me also for the entire life that I have on this earth. A mark of leadership, of statesmanship, of compassion in ways I've never imagined. And in many ways, a man who actually is a repository of a lot of knowledge. Look, Obi, his knowledge of the roads in this country, nothing beats it. His knowledge about the geography of this country, nothing beats it. The topological arrangements of this country. I mean, he's a walking, talking encyclopedia of everything Ghana. I pray that all of us will tap into not just his blessing, but his knowledge and his strongest abilities. You know, people like to focus on the little negativities all the time.
There's
I think
no perfect human being.
it's a human trait. But more than anything, I think that John Mahama's resilience And I always smile when I think about the renomination of Professor Nana Jean. It will be a conversation of another day, but it would also be telling just how success has so many friends and supporters. Let's continue to succeed. Let's continue to pray for success. Let's continue to work for people to succeed. Let's continue to count our blessings to one by one. Let's believe that God has given us this beautiful history so that we can make a difference. Let's all focus on making that difference. Look, no matter how small. And I remember years ago the attitudes of some of our colleagues, and we should be willing to advise each other when the need arises. But Obi, let's remember that this thumb here can take you in and bring you out.
Make sure it doesn't bring you out flat, like we are seeing. On that note, phone lines are...
You have a challenge, you go to the court, state your case, and then we pick it up from there. In the Samuel Abujinapo Damongo one, it's surprising that the Electoral Commission is not recollating that one, where there were challenges, and in fact,
I was for any information between us or semitic for Pemasa Newz. So, concerned about the security officers, the police for the soldiers for the army to be the support Kesi eta eye bekani samanyuko nachi as a John Dramani mama ne dano niema ensem fate nyina yakoso no eyadom so mede omkutia niema unlawful no eyadom mede omkutia niema isije mensan ye sene be omitima flip some acid b at size 7 seat component ya yetenje se afanyo mangis na yede she chiri ema omutimi yede so chikuma edema mbipia manyuko no sene be ya start to 10 no mama ntiminya sani atete na sani ema ekosono ena Sam George kase security personnel na omoere omo support ye no enya de omo beta omo na omo hwe han masadi ya akoso as ankofo ni aye like ye catch on some ye MP late and there ya like ya switch 7 seat dia ma omo dwen so mani agea anodom bemu ni account omo adwum nyemo de say bia on the 9th na yeso eyebeka the new speaker in no as Sunday no and ebeso omomi MP lezinya ebeso ino abede MP for their constituency nyade on besi parliament o nyade yo obiama no kwa mo parliament o endi samanyu ko be block sa 7 flip seat no aida ma MP ama ko include another mpe o kasa 7 flip seat na aida mo no na no ababo nti o kasa police for o vote ma eyebeka John Dramani mama so just for vote ma John Dramani mama mo ta machi 24/7 because right now no a police for so just for nyina iti the president always say akofado but you share a years of V name babontin ni padodo mo vote ma ye John Dramani mama ni padodo mo vote ma baomia as MPP party na nkasemu no you share outcome babontin na support omo no enya asem ketwa na according to Nsema Sam George Kanache say so for bia no Nsema atianse ezueza na Nsema aya police for associates for any security officers for nyɛ ka sa mo support NDC amanyuko na bibia ekoso anya bia o meden on be koitia that means niema na be koso declaration ye be koso niema be koso court ni aka de nyina no se anko in favor of NDC amanyuko na say in case aye niema omo declare na man be amanyuko ye unlawful there any be koitia but a lawful the ombeje ni mamu aka because ombia patent na e wogana we no one ECJ measures or arrogant pa no ka bibia mo so beti na o share another comment section na the amount for can say e was say I am Muhammad a second if a beka second if office no like we free or no ne like na bem and say the regime because don't think the interim homaswa na mabiru animu on same fata so heading what now we know and I began the personal aid for a John Dramani mama a Joyce Bawanzo ya den babo ntibelisi some project beer and I say some policy beer on my margin some be nyan so messiah because I don't know more kind of more manifesto some be women's bang any idea we can't say me repeat my chair or comment with me so share ama wadamfo so enye bi ahwe haya for ʍanģic Akroma nyina